Such an obstinate young man. Oh! I become too. What is happening right now? I can't even speak. I'm just moving along. What am I looking at? This modern art freaking abstract piece of bullcrap art looking garbage in front of me right now. What is happening?
And then it shall appear.
Hey, this rave music, what the frick? How much time had passed? I didn't see a clock, so I had no clue. I wanted to see a clock, but I knew that if I did see one, the hands sluggishly ticking by would probably shatter my spirit completely. I clenched my teeth. Sweat was oozing off of my body in droves. Thanks to that, my throat had gone dry. I moistened it by swallowing the blood that was trickling in it. Inside my body, I could feel the stake continuously shoving aside my internal organs as it wedged itself even deeper into me. I could feel it very clearly, like a countdown to my inevitable death. Soon enough, it arrived at my minced chest. After that, it pierced through my throat. It skewered me straight through the mouth. The pain and shock was pushing my sanity to its limits. What is happening? The pain kept me in a 5-minute cycle of passing out, waking up, then passing back out again. I came to understand something. Every time I fainted, my body would go limp, and the stake dug into me even faster. Naturally, the pain grew to uncomparable levels when that happened. Then it would wake me back up. Unable to move, my body would writhe in torment. Then I'd pass out again to escape the pain, and the gruesome cycle would repeat itself. Even when I was conscious, I was entirely in a daze. It seemed the pain had somehow faded a little too. My vision had gone dim. Was it nighttime? Not that it mattered, considering the lack of windows in the dome. I mean, it has to be a delusion, right? Like, he can't really be going through this much torture and not have died by now. Like, I don't think that's physically possible. So, like, this has to be a delusion. I supposed it was probably because of how much blood I'd lost. Blood trickled from my chest and arms, albeit not a whole lot. If it kept dripping out, maybe I could die peacefully from that instead of being impaled. Realizing that, I attempted to swing around my left arm, hardly any of which remained below the elbow. But it didn't even twitch. No doubt my nerves were already dead. Ba 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 ba. Boo 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 blip blip boo blip 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 boo. Bee blah blah blah. Boo. He's losing it. Was it really a delusion? When was it going to end? Would it ever actually end? What had made me believe it was a delusion to begin with? How could I know it was a delusion? What if it was all reality? If I endured it, I'd just die anyway. Enduring it didn't mean crap. But I was enduring it anyway? That was stupid. Only a moron would do that. I was an idiot. Die. Not the haha kill yourself kind. No. Actually freaking die. I should die right now. I was sick of all the pain. I was sick of all the suffering. Bite your tongue off. Do that, and you'll be at peace soon after. Just let me out of here. This was all a delusion, right? Die, 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 die. It hurts. Die, 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 die. It hurts. Die, die. My chest continued to hemorrhage. I couldn't breathe. No matter how much oxygen I tried to suck in, my throat would only make a stupid wheezing sound. I looked down, only to be met with the stake peeking through the holes in my chest. Struggling for oxygen, as my mouth flapped open and shut, I violently vomited out blood. The fact that I was about to die brought me peace of mind. Any moment now, I believe. It was Norase's voice. That jerk was right in front of me. But I couldn't see him. In fact, I couldn't see a thing. Being impaled had left me in so much agony for so long that I'd completely forgotten about both him and Themi. I couldn't help but wonder if Themi was still close by, though it didn't really matter. I was too occupied with trying to breathe. For a good while now, I'd been dedicating every nerve and every last ounce of strength toward just doing that. Before you safely pass on to the next world, allow me to dispose of the girl. I wasn't exactly sure what he was talking about, nor did I have the chance to think about it.
You're going to kill me?
Indeed. That is what I plan. Do you have any last words?
I'm sorry, Taco. I couldn't save you.
I heard Themi's final scream, then the sound of someone toppling over. I imagined that Themi had just been shot and killed. What the frick? I didn't feel a single pain of emotion. Something else took priority. Oh my gosh. I returned to working on breathing. And then, I felt shock at how I'd done that. What was the meaning in any of this? Why did I struggle so hard to keep on breathing? Wasn't it just too much? Something hot streamed down my cheeks. I was probably crying, but there wasn't any way to be sure of that. I'd tried my best to endure everything that I had dealt with so far, but so close to the 3-day limit, the meaning of doing so had been entirely lost. I'm sorry, Themi. I should be the one to apologize. I couldn't protect you. Oh! There wasn't any point in living anymore. I let my body go limp. The weight of that caused my body to sink even deeper. I felt a foreign object working its way up my throat. Breathing became impossible. Something was driving itself up through me. I came back to my senses. The feeling of a foreign object in my throat disappeared. What the frick? I wasn't impaled anymore. The only blood on me was from my left arm and chest. What the frick? It was a delusion! Whoa, what? When did reality end and the delusion begin? My brain couldn't begin to process it fast enough. I didn't understand a thing about the situation. In front of me was Norosei, D-sword raised. Back so soon? What the frick is happening? The 3 days you just experienced were, in fact, but a single second in reality. So it was just a delusion. After muttering that to myself in relief. Oh! Norosei's D-sword flashed as fast as lightning. My body's top and bottom halves began to fall out of alignment. My vision fell. It sank downward, even though my legs were still standing right there. Everything above my waist toppled to the floor. Oh no! My torso had been cleaved clean off. The cross-section was all too beautiful to behold. Wait, so that actually happened then? I inexplicably fixed my gaze on my lower half. It was a reality I didn't want to accept. Or was it just another delusion? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening anymore. If it was, that would have been nice. Please be a delusion.
Taku! Taku! Taku!
Demi was calling me, in a voice that seemed so sad. She was calling me. Even in that state, it will be a number of minutes before your death. As a former doctor, you have my word on that. Whoa, wait! A former doctor? Wait! Is that like a crossover? Because Leskinen ended up being a doctor too, right? Is there a correlation to that? Because they kind of look the same. And they would both be doctors. What? Oh, I don't know. In the meantime, allow me to extract your code sample. I crawled, dragging my body away with my right hand alone. I headed straight for Themi's voice. I want to feel you there, Themi. I have to save you. Themi. I dragged myself forward with my right hand. Then again. I reached out. But I had no idea where Themi was. I didn't reach her. I didn't reach anything at all. Such an obstinate young man. Oh! Crunch. I felt my bones grind to dust. Norosei's dress shoe trampled my outstretched right hand. Or perhaps, monster would be a far more apt title. What the? Norosei's legs waver like a mirage in the desert. The tile pattern on the floor begins to blur and distort. Ah! Bottom becomes top, and top becomes bottom. The floor becomes the ceiling, and the ceiling becomes the floor. I find myself crawling on my stomach. A staggering amount of blood gushes out from my severed waistline. Like a water faucet put on full blast. The blood is draining out of my body. And then, just like that, my organs cascade out of the opening in my arm. My consciousness surges far, far away. But I don't lose it completely. Blood starts to pool around me. Ugh! My body is lying in a sea of crimson. Thump, thump. As my heart beats, it rolls onto the floor in front of me, forming ripples in the bloody puddle. I watch the ripples in a daze. My shape collapses. I'm unable to maintain my shape as a person. The boundary between myself and the world vanishes. My flesh melts. My bones warp like rubber. My eyeballs become square-shaped. My inside-out lungs tumble out of my mouth. My nerves are stretched out for tens of thousands of kilometers. One by one, the wrinkles of my brain slowly smooth themselves out. My body becomes a flabby blob. I dissolve into the air. My right hand stretches as if it were made of thread. What? It leaves the planetarium. And like a parade float, it wanders about the Shibuya sky, whirls around Cornelius Tower, wraps around it, again and again, again and again, again and again. My knot-together legs swell up. Glub glub, like a water balloon. Bulging out, my skin grows. It makes rubbery sounds. They're not capitalizing anymore, either. I'm turning into liquid. Or punctuations. They're not doing punctuations except for periods. Even my flesh, even my bones. They melt and clog up my calves. Then a little head springs out of my hip. It looks at me with white googly eyes. What? And then my head gets smashed into pieces. I don't know which head exactly. It's all smashed and pulpy, though. The building's concrete floor. I slip between the cracks in its molecules. Falling to the ground. Whoosh. Ugh! I splat on the ground. Goopy brain puddle. Squirmy squirm. Gushy gush. Slurpy slurp. Sticky stick. Jiggly jiggle. Bouncy bounce. Splashy splash. Gloopy gloop. Splatty splat. I become two. What is happening right now? I can't even speak. I'm just moving along. What am I looking at? This modern art freaking abstract piece of bullcrap art looking garbage in front of me right now. What is happening? Ah! 2 becomes 4. 4 becomes 8. 8 becomes 4. 2 becomes 8. 4 becomes 4. Slowly multiply. Slowly divide. There's a lot of me. There's none of me. What is me? What am I? I am what? Me? What? What's me? Mad? Where? You're more than just a delusion. You. Look closely. Nishijo Nanami prays. In a hospital, admitted alongside her brother, curled up in the corner of a waiting room brimming with injured souls, clutching her real brother's wrinkled hand, enduring the pain in her right hand. She closes her eyes and prays for the safety of her other brother. Kusunoki Yua prays. By the rubble of a collapsed building, in a container that lay buried by it all, clutching one of his anime girl figures, enduring the pain in her chest from seeing his figures desecrated by the earthquake and ensuing fires. She closes her eyes and prays for the safety of the boy who forgave her. Kishimoto Ayase prays. At Suime Academy, now an evacuation shelter, looking to the sky from the rooftop, clutching her paperback book of legends, enduring the malicious pain of the innumerable delusions concealing the collapsed Shibuya. She closes her eyes and prays for the safety of the boy who listened to her song and her story. Orihara Kozue prays. At Shinsen Station, on a dimly lit platform, clutching Aoi Sena's trembling hand, enduring the pain of her injured leg, she closes her eyes and prays for the safety of the boy, her classmate, whom she spoke with in her inner voice. Aoi Sena prays. Sitting beside her father on the ground, clutching her father's cold hand, enduring the pain of regret, having not been honest to the very end. She closes her eyes and prays for the safety of the boy who tried to grant her wish, no matter how clumsily. Sakihara Dimi prays. Lying on the cold floor, tightly clutching her own hands, extended toward him, enduring the tightening in her chest from when she saw him covered in wounds. She closes her eyes and prays for the safety of the boy whom she swore to protect, yet instead came to save her. Interesting. I was unable to do anything. It was you who acted. As a result, everyone has had their eyes on you. Mutual recognition of you has long since been established. From this point forward, no, already, you are. I am. Who are you? I am.
Taku!
The moment I heard that voice, huh? Huh? My consciousness stabilized me. The once swirling world converged all at once. My D-sword took shape as a converging chaos. Ooh, we got a new song! I returned to my shape as myself. The world returned to its shape as the world. I am me! Oh! Yeah, baby! I could see clearly now. All my wounds had healed. My top and bottom halves were connected. I was standing on my own 2 feet. Did he heal himself or did their prayers heal him? Because that's kind of cute if they all prayed for him and he got better. The pain was entirely gone. Serenity filled my heart. You did well to overcome the delusions. I entrust you with the last of my power. I noticed Beamy at the edge of my vision. She was okay. She was looking at me. Tears were falling down her face. Don't cry. Summoning my strength, I grasped the D-sword's hilt. I ascertained its feeling. My arms worked better than ever. I had completely regenerated. My, this is quite fascinating. You darn monstrosity! I focused my eyes on Norose. Sure, I'm a monster. But this is so I can rescue Themi. So I can destroy Noah 2. The delusion that I wished for. Whoa, wait! This is like, they said that in Steins Gate, too. They said the future that we wished for, didn't they? Isn't that where I'm thinking of? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yo! They brought that back for Steins Gate. That's crazy. Norose's response was swift. He had yet to harvest the code sample of Nishijo Takumi. The delusion was supposed to have cornered the boy and shattered his psyche, but now the tables had turned. And that he could not allow. Norose closed the gap between himself and Takumi. Taking a specific angle, he swung his D-sword from below. With a D-sword that could cleave any known object, he diagonally carved through Takumi's chest. The target's durability made no difference. Killing a person with it was as simple as slicing through a block of gelatin. Ugh! With one quick swipe from Norose, Takumi's body was split into pieces. His head, right arm, and right shoulder all slid cleanly off his body. Internal organs littered the floor, but not a single drop of blood fell with them. The lower half of Takumi's body began to give way. He braced himself and managed to plant his feet. In the following moment, the cross-section of his wound began to undulate and squirm. Ew! A bubbling noise ensued. And then, he regenerated. even though his body had been cleaved apart a mere second ago. Already a new head, right arm, and shoulder had been born. His old head and internal organs remained where they had slid free from him. Whoa! I already blocked off my sense of pain. With a single step, Takumi approached Norose. Norose clicked his tongue, then turned over his D-sword. By virtue of casting aside your bodily form, any form whatsoever is within your means, I take it. You can thank the delusion you showed me for that. He was unable to retain his shape as a human being. He had taken in the delusion and made it his own. This was not regeneration, but replacement. Missing parts replenished. Flesh and bone were produced once again, all propagating infinitely from the dust within his body. His shape was not fixed. Like an amoeba, like a collection of slime, he could change himself freely. That was the reason Takumi called himself a monster. Takumi took yet another step toward Norose. Norose's frustration increased. Gripping the hilt, he thrusted his D-sword at the approaching Takumi. Takumi's head found itself between a colossal pair of scissors. Without a brain, you can't have any more delusions, now can you? Takumi's head was crushed. It split like a watermelon. Blood and gray matter burst forth. Everything above the neck was gone. And yet, Takumi's body remained. Regeneration, replacement, was instantaneous. As soon as his heel hit the ground, as if nothing had happened, as if he had been entirely replaced, his head returned right to where it had been, without a single scratch. Norose awakened to an understanding. He could not win this fight. Physical attacks with his D-sword were useless. The delusional attack denying the boy's reason for existence had been taken in and used for an alternate purpose. The current Nishijo Takumi was all too removed from human normalcy. All too distorted of an existence. All too fitting as a monster. And yet, despite it all, Norose had no intention of conceding. His next thought was to utilize Noatu's power to bombard Takumi with innumerable antiparticles. Bombardment with antiparticles could transform any known existence into negative matter, ending ultimately in self-collapse. If disruption from the surface was not viable, then collapse must be undertaken from within. You're on the right track. Nodose's thoughts had been read by Takumi. What? The shine of Takumi's D-sword transformed from red to black. A black flame enveloped the blade. It wiggled forth, extending outward. Its shape resembled that of... a dark, colossal serpent. Yo!
And then it shall appear.
Hey, this rave music, what the frick? What is this? Let's go. Whoa! He's got a buster sword now. It roamed throughout the dome as if constrained by it. Toward the ceiling, toward the floor, as though it was licking them up, as though it was scraping them away. It simply consumed.
A dark, colossal serpent of wicked hearts. A being capable of devouring all corrosion, shattering the wicked-hearted king's body itself, and instilling heterogeneity in its homogeneity.
The body of the colossal serpent was composed of antiparticles. With a mere touch, it could send any known object into self-collapse. A torrent of destruction composed of near-infinite greed. Can't say I'm all that fond of tentacle porn, though. Come on, dude, why? Why right now? You're supposed to be cool. Stop! There and then, Takami's D-sword swung, its pointed tip fixed on Norose. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my gosh! The dark serpent, winding itself in a coil, curved its body like a whip. Its jaw snapped at Norose. Such power! It can't be! Not once had Norose ever seen such a phenomenon from a D-sword. He could not discern whether it was the hidden power of all gigalomaniacs, or merely Takami's delusion. The dark fangs eroded Nodose's body, and he began to collapse. All too slowly, like a frog slowly dissolving in the belly of a snake. Oh, like a ghetto froggy? Darkness swallowed him. He felt no pain. By nature, his death should have been instant. But that was not what Takami wished for. Realizing this, Nodose's lips twisted into a derisive smile. Norose had no fear of death. One could say that the ideals he pursued had been accomplished with the completion of Noah 2. Even if you kill me, no other person can approach Noah 2. A perpetual emotion machine. That is what you are dealing with. Its administration over humanity will last until the end of time. It does not merely sit idle and watch from afar. Rather, it is a man-made god which interferes for the sake of mankind's happiness. Norose was God's inventor, so to speak. As long as Noah 2 continued to exist, mankind would not perish, and the eternal utopia Norose sought would become real. However, but you can approach it, can't you? Oh, dude, he's gonna mind control him? What? What? The serpent's body wriggled and writhed with Norose in its grasp, lifting his body into the air. If that's the case, then you're the key. Norose was astonished, but soon enough, his face changed into an expression of pure agony. The serpent swung about his body with ease. Takami shot a glance at Themi. Their eyes met. Just what was Themi feeling as she watched him? Reading her mind would have been effortless. And yet, Takami did nothing of the sort. It seems I was able to save you after all. He quickly averted his eyes. His gaze then shifted to the still humming Noah 2, the throne of God, where none could stand foot. A cradle which showed naught but dreams of bliss. I'm sorry. He apologized to no one in particular. I very well might be the enemy of humanity. The eternal utopia this device would have brought. A future without conflict. Takami would extinguish them with his own 2 hands. Was that right? Or was it wrong? Takami could not give the answer to that. But it's pretty common in mythology. Even gods tend to slack off when women are involved. What the frick? That's why I, too, will sacrifice the happiness of mankind out of love for a girl. Takumi, D-sword in hand, bent his arms in a giant arc. Break through! Oh! He thrusted it forth, just like a javelin. The colossal serpent of darkness charged straight ahead. Dude, this is so Chinibyo, dude! With the bait known as Norose impaled by its tip, it flew straight toward Noah 2. An enormous serpent of antiparticles capable of terminating any known object. It had no will of its own. Thus, it was not something that could have been warped nor distorted. With the greedy impulse to destroy, using Norose as the key, the delusional barrier was easily smashed to pieces. Oh! Dude! Whoa! Whoa! Huh. When had the rain begun to fall? There had just been a huge explosion, and its blast blew my body away like it was nothing more than a rag doll. Next thing I knew, I found myself here. Oh shoot, it's moving faster than I could do it. Those eyes were watching, always watching me. The stare pierced through the thick, pitch black rain clouds and poured down on me like rain. Don't look at me. My body couldn't stop shivering, not from the chill of the rain, but rather the ice-cold rubble against my back. So terribly cold. A gaze pierced me from the heavens. Who it belonged to, I couldn't say. As if to escape it, I raised my head to look. Well, couldn't read that. That's way too fast. There I saw a ruined city. There I saw despair. There I saw death. There I saw nothingness. Not a soul was there. Not a soul was moving. Not a soul was alive, left alive. The only thing I could hear was something. At this rate, everything, both the living and the dead. Would it all be gently embraced and washed away? How nice it would be if all of this was just a delusion. But that didn't seem to be the case. I couldn't move my body. I could move only my eyes and neck, and even then just barely. I couldn't use that monstrous power from before. My body was shivering, but that was nothing more than a psychological something. It wasn't happening by my own will. I didn't want my body to tremble. If I couldn't move it freely, then it wasn't my body or something like that. Or maybe I've never had free will since I was born. Nobody knows exactly. I think this is just the beginning again. Bearing that in mind, how could anyone say that there was a soul inside this body of mine? But then where exactly was I now? Was I really here? Was I anywhere at all? In this shattered world where all stood still, where all that could be heard was the rain of death, well, a solitary existence began to emerge from the sea of something. Who are you? Is your skin so pale? Because it had been numbed by the chill of the rain? Or was it because you were already dead? And yet, the girl wasn't shivering, and those eyes of hers nearly hidden by her bangs. Don't look at me. They looked so terribly sad. They looked as if they held a hint of madness. They looked as if they reflected nothing. If she and I were the only ones left in the world, if we stared at each other's eyes like this for all eternity, would my world be reduced to the reflection in her eyes? Would her world be reduced to the reflection in my eyes? The only thing reflected in her eyes was me. The only thing reflected in my eyes was her. When I thought of that way, the world immediately, hey, why is this moving faster than it's like I'm not able to do this. Suddenly, a flash of static reached my ears, or endless. She lowered her head and spread her arms wide, almost as if preparing to take off, to soar high above the rain clouds, or as if trying to catch all of the falling rain.
All that's watching you is a delusion.
From where I was on the ground, I couldn't see the expression on that lower half of hers. But this thin veil of rain, I can't read that fast. I can't even process what I'm saying. Did she say I'll put you in the trash now? An angel? Were those dancing feathers of light blessing me? Or... Ah, I see. I finally understand. She's going to use that to kill me. The girl slowly kneeled to the ground before my collapsed body. With her head still lowered, she gently took my own in her hands. I surrendered my body to her grasp. I was just relieved that she was looking at me, not looking at me.
I'll put you to rest now.
In my ear, I heard a whisper garbled by static.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Oh, can I click now? You're not moving. Yep. There's nothing to apologize for. If I don't disappear, the other me, the real me, will die. So, that's why I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm really glad I had to be erased by you. It's not a bad end for a monster like me, something else. I don't know how to slow it down. A warm, soft, gentle, sweet sensation. A miraculous, as if it were something. The shivering in my body slowly began to die down. Her soft breathing tickled my cheeks. Suddenly, I sensed something pressing against my chest. The large sword she held tore through my skin, bore into my flesh, weaved through my bones, and slowly sank into whatever. But, gifted with the anesthesia of her kiss, I no longer felt pain. Something like that. I leaving me on the verge of tears. Would have imagined such a kind death. Yeah, this is all the beginning again. Trying to hide them, I looked past the girl's head and up toward the ashen sky, where something happened. That was it! Whoa, what? Are you kidding? Oh no, what? I thought I was gonna get a little more closure. Oh, what? No way. Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. All right. Not a bad ending overall. Definitely unfulfilling, but not a bad ending overall. Man, that was crazy, dude. I really want to, like I did with Steins Gate, I want to hold my actual critique until I've actually finished all the endings. But I guess just as a summary, all I can really say is that was a trip. That was a freaking trip, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man, there was so much that was confusing about all of that. And it's still confusing because we don't have all of the information still. We have to go and get all the rest of the endings, obviously. So, but I loved that weird twist that they had of the good guy actually being the bad guy, and the bad guy actually being the good guy. the bad guy was trying to save all of humanity by putting them under a delusion where they could only do good things and not have conflict. And the good guy was trying to destroy that just so that he could selfishly save a girl that he liked, you know? Kind of wild. It's kind of interesting, but yet you still want you still want Takumi to win. You still want him to be the one that succeeds, even though he is technically kind of the bad guy, you know? But like I was saying last time, he's not really the bad guy. Or I guess, I'll probably make this was supposed to be another episode, but it's so short, I'll probably just add it to the one that was supposed to be prior to this one. But like I was saying before, in other words, if you have a world where there's no conflict, where there's no ability to choose conflict, to choose evil, then good means nothing. It means nothing to be good anyway if you're like forced to just do whatever is right. You know what I'm saying? That's why God gave us free wills. That's what's so important about that, is you actually have the privilege to choose your own demise. To choose, you actually have the privilege to choose to go to hell. Because God doesn't send you there, you send you there by your choices. You know what I'm saying? It's your free will choices that send you there, that you walk into hell yourself, right? Or you walk into heaven if you choose to believe in Jesus. It's just kind of how that works. That's the beauty of free will. So without that, good choices, like nothing matters if there's no choices. Good doesn't matter. Meaning is meaningless. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Wow. Okay, reached the Silent Sky ending. CG library is now available. Sound library is now available. Okay. Movie library is now available. Shortcut has been unlocked. Oh, man. Okay. Yup. All right. Well, that's all I think I have to say about this one. I'll say for this ending, did I like this ending? This ending was satisfactory, but it wasn't satisfying. Does that make sense? Like it was obviously we still have like a lot of stuff that's left undone, so it's not fully satisfying, but like in terms of just Takumi's little story, having him just like kind of sacrifice himself to save her was kind of cool. But because it cuts off so abruptly, it's hard to say that it's like, that was a good ending. It's kind of, it worked, you know? That's kind of where I'm at right now. So yeah, I guess with that, I guess we'll just leave it here and we'll move on to doing the other endings in the next episode. I'll have to find a good guide. I had heard that there is a good one on the Committee of Zero website. They should have one there that will run me through all of the ones I should do in order to best understand everything. Like they'll have the best order for which to go through each ending. So I was gonna wait until the end, but I guess I'll say it here, and I'll probably say it when I'm finished with Chaos Head entirely. But big thanks. I don't even know them, but big thanks to the Committee of Zero for making this crazy good patch. Didn't even know I was using a patch the entire time because it's so well put together. I don't know what the other version cut out, but I can't imagine them tearing out really much of what was in here without it losing some of the impact. You know what I mean? Of course, I haven't seen all of the endings yet, but some of those things were necessary to really get you to like understand Takumi and to understand what the writers were going for, I feel like. Because it really feels like they used Takumi as the scapegoat of humanity. He's like, not the scapegoat, that's the wrong word, as the pinnacle of humanity. And in the worst possible way, you know what I mean? He embodies all of the bad parts of humanity, which is really just humanity itself. All the good parts of humanity are the godlike parts of us, which have nothing to do with humanity. That has to do with just being godlike, you know what I'm saying? So very good on them for finishing that patch. Happened to do it as soon as they did the remaster too, which was freaking wild that they got it done just like pretty close to the time that the actual game was released. So yeah, so big thanks to them. And if you decide to play any of the Science Adventure series, you should go over there and check out their translations and whatnot, because if this is anything to go off of, they did a pretty bang-up job, I must say. So, yeah, I guess I'll leave it at right there for now, because I want to hold off on like the majority of my critique until the very, very, very end. So with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you ruffians in the next video. God bless, and peace.